It began like any other weekend gathering, a blend of laughter, small talk, and the soft murmur of music under dim lights. Friends, colleagues, and acquaintances mingled in the glow of a lavish dinner party hosted by one of my wife's coworkers. I was leaning against the bar, chatting with a friend from the office, when my eyes wandered across the room and found Emily. She was breathtaking in a red silk dress that caught the light with every movement. But what held my attention wasn't her beauty. It was the way she was behaving. She stood far too close to a man I didn't recognize. Her hand brushed against his arm whenever she laughed, her body language relaxed, inviting. His posture was confident, too confident, and hers mirrored it. My stomach twisted, a dull ache of anger and disappointment mixing into something I'd felt before. The subtle touches, the secret smiles, the whispers that weren't really whispers. I'd seen them all. I told myself to stay calm, to keep my composure. But the longer I watched, the more I realized the woman standing there wasn't the same one who used to squeeze my hand like it was her anchor. When I finally walked over, she looked momentarily startled, then quickly masked it with her usual charm. "Hey babe," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "This is Nick. He's new at work." Nick extended his hand, his grin too relaxed, too familiar. "Nice to meet you," he said, voice smooth. I shook his hand, firm, deliberate. Emily giggled, placing her hand on his shoulder as if to ease the tension. "Relax," she teased. "We were just talking about how a little harmless flirting keeps things interesting." People around us chuckled, but I didn't. I just looked at her, really looked. The smug tilt of her chin, the spark in her eyes that thrived on attention. Something inside me clicked into place. I smiled faintly and said, "You're right, Emily. Being single will probably be fun too." The laughter stopped. Her smile froze, color draining from her face. "Wait. What do you mean by single?" she stammered. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. I turned and walked away, leaving her in the middle of the room, surrounded by eyes that suddenly avoided hers. As I headed for the exit, I heard her voice calling faintly behind me, desperate. "Jason, come on." It was just a joke. But it wasn't a joke, not to me. It was the final crack in something that had been breaking for years. When we got home, the silence was heavier than any argument we'd ever had. She tried to play it off, tossing her purse on the couch. "You're really upset about that?" "I was just being friendly." I looked at her, calm but tired. "Friendly as saying hello, Emily. What you did was disrespectful." Her smirk faltered. "Oh, come on, you're overreacting." I shook my head with a quiet laugh. "No. I'm finally reacting. There's a difference." I walked to the bedroom and started packing a suitcase. She followed, panic replacing her confidence. "You can't be serious. You're leaving over a harmless joke." I zipped the bag shut and met her eyes. "You said flirting was harmless fun. Then I guess being single will be harmless too." Her voice cracked, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Jason, please don't do this." But I was already gone in every way that mattered. I'd spent years forgiving late-night texts, vague girls' nights, and her endless need for attention from other men. Every time she brushed it off with, "It's nothing serious. Don't be jealous." But jealousy was never the issue. It was the quiet betrayal hiding behind her excuses. I walked past her, the sound of the door closing behind me feeling like freedom. The next few days were full of calls and messages. Long paragraphs about regret, promises to change, tearful apologies. But I didn't answer. Every word felt recycled from past mistakes. Rehearsed lines from a play I no longer wanted to be part of. She didn't miss me. She missed knowing I'd always come back. The truth was, she'd stopped respecting me long before that night. That dinner party just made it impossible to keep pretending. Weeks later, a mutual friend mentioned she'd become a ghost of herself. "She doesn't talk to anyone," he said. "Keeps asking if you're really gone for good." I told him the truth, I was. Because once you see your partner laughing with another man the way she used to laugh with you, something in you breaks. Doesn't heal. Just changes you. A month later, she showed up at my new place. Her eyes were red, her face pale. "Jason, please," she whispered. "I was stupid. I took you for granted. I'll do anything to fix this." I listened quietly, arms crossed. "You can't fix what you chose to destroy," I said. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it back gently. "You didn't lose me at that party, Emily. You lost me every time you laughed at my trust. I closed the door that night for good. No anger. No bitterness. Just peace. In the months that followed, I rebuilt my life. A new city, a quiet apartment, a job that didn't remind me of her. Sometimes I'd think about that night, the way her laughter died when I said those words. Being single will be fun too. That silence said everything. Now, when people ask what happened between us, I don't go into details. I just smile and say, she thought flirting was harmless fun. I thought self-respect was too. And choosing it was the best decision I ever made.